Girls of Reddit, what was the best flirting technique someone did to you? Story 1. When I was 10, I received a love letter from a boy. It contained a flower inside, and at the bottom of the letter, he wrote some cheat codes for Mortal Kombat for me. He knew I was always playing that game on my Sega. Story 2. I met my now husband while I was in the hospital. He worked there, and I was a frequent patient, unfortunately. Anyway, he would bring daffodils to my room, or apple juice. He snuck me extra warm blankets and would sit with me before and after his shift. He offered to get groceries and wash my hair when I got out. All of it just as a friend. He knew I wasn't interested in dating while going through everything, so he was just there. I happened to like him there, and we're celebrating our 12th anniversary this year. Story 3. I was in Chicago on business, got a horrible migraine, and had to cancel a meeting with the man I had met with for work the day before. I get terrible migraines, really, really bad. After it was over, I had to get a bit of food and something to drink, but it was very late, and there was no way I would survive any kind of car or cab ride. He was the only person I knew in town, so I sent him a text to see if he knew of anything in my area that would be safe or open that late within walking distance. He drove 30 minutes across town in the middle of the night to walk me to a 24-hour restaurant to buy me dinner. I've been with him for 11 years now. Story 4. I was riding home with a friend's group back in 2008. We stopped to drop off one guy and I got out to stretch. I mentioned that the stars were much more visible in the mountains, and he said, "Yeah, they're beautiful. Wish I had someone to watch them with." I'm a sucker for corny guys. We got married the next year and are celebrating 12 years this June. Story 5. My first boyfriend came into the store where I was working and told me he had seen me through the window and needed to run home to clean up, put something on nice, so he could come back and ask me on a date. It was super endearing. Story 6. We met at a Halloween house party, and when I was going to leave, he walked me to the room with all of the coats, which also happened to be a kid's room, and he asked me, "What color crayon would you like to write your phone number with?" I'm married, celebrated 20 years. Story 7. The first time I hung out at my boyfriend's house before we started dating. We were lying on the floor listening to records, and he turned to ask me what time it was. I think it was 4. I remember. He then said, "Wow, you've been here 4 hours, and I haven't kissed you yet?" It still makes me smile, and needless to say, it worked very well. Story 8. I like sunsets. They're my thing. I photographed them and have sold calendars about them. I like sunsets. Anyway, I participated in a medical study and we were sequestered in our room for 14 days. The guy I liked would send me pictures of the sunset each night because he didn't want me to miss any. Story 9. I once had a guy walk up to me at a bar and said, "Hello, my name is Rob, and I'll be hitting on you tonight. What can I get you to drink?" Silly, playful, and direct. We dated for about 8 months. Story 10. I started dating the university's lone wolf and was extremely surprised to find out how incorrigible a flirt he was. But he didn't speak my native language. He was not from my state and my parents wouldn't have approved of our relationship. When I told him I didn't want to lead him on, he said we would try our best, and if it didn't work out, he would take full responsibility for his broken heart and that I need not feel pressured. The feeling of liberation I felt cinched the deal for me. Looking back, I'm strangely touched by how he, an introvert, had allowed himself to be openly vulnerable in front of me. After 7 years of a solid relationship, which included 3 years of wearing my parents down to accept them, we got married a couple of months ago. Story 11. My former fiancé, he passed away, went 100% cheesy pickup lines, but in the goofiest way. He was nervous and had no clue what to say, so he risked. It went from "Hello, how are you?" to cheesy dad joke, "Why couldn't the bicycle stand up on its own?" So to the cheesy pickup lines, tap pockets like he's looking for something. I lost my number. Can I have yours? Although I could tell he was nervous, he had an air of confidence that I was drawn to and a great smile. Story 12. I was playing my 3DS on the train and a guy came across me and said, "Excuse me, can I ask what you're playing?" We started a conversation. I was so engaged that I almost missed my stop. Afterwards, we would sit and talk on our way home, and he started gifting me books from his work. That's when I asked him out. Story 13. We were padding at night, and he stopped, looked me in the eyes, and said, "I think you just broke my writer's block." Not sure if it was a technique. It seemed genuine. When we parted ways, he went home and wrote the first song he'd written in months. But it was super hot, and I melted when he said it. Story 14. It was my first day in middle school, and this kid asked me to see my planner. I handed it to him, and he flipped to the contact section and left me his name and number. I'll never forget how smooth he was. Story 15. In college, my best friend was this guy with whom I had a flirty relationship, but we were dating other people. We lived in the same buildings as each other during the first third year and spent much time together, but again, we were with other people. During the first year, we were watching a movie together, and this couple had an epic kiss in the rain, and I offhandedly mentioned that I thought it was so romantic. Senior year rolls around, and we're both finally single. We were walking home from a party, and it started raining, and he just kind of grabbed me and kissed me and mentioned he thought about what I said anytime it rained. When we had a very intense relationship for about a year, and then it kind of ended in disaster, and we haven't spoken since. Story 16. He said, I have a riddle for you. He then took my hand and traced a line down the middle of my palm. This is a river. It is too wide to jump over, deep to wade across, fast to swim across, and too long to go around. But there's a bunny stuck on one side of it. So how does the bunny cross the river? After about 10 minutes of trying to guess the answer, I gave up and asked him how the bunny got across the river. He said, who cares? I just wanted to hold your hand. Story 17. He said, I caught feelings for you, and I looked at him, confused but blushing. He showed me my screen and said that he had caught a Pokemon for me and gave it the nickname Feelings. We're married and have 2 kids now. Story 18. I'm British and came to the States on a temporary work visa to do one ski session with Vail Resorts. I was bartending at an on-mountain restaurant, and a couple of snowboarders came in and started talking to me. It came up that I was only there for the season. Then one of them says, I'll marry you so you can stay. But we have to go on a date first. We celebrated our 13th anniversary, and I'm still in Colorado. Story 19. I worked as a florist where the owner illegally hired mostly Mexican girls in the States to learn English. They went to school but worked for a rate that wasn't even minimum wage. It was super shady, but I loved working with them. We would make up little games to teach me Spanish, them English. Anyway, this Latin guy comes in one day, and one of the girls is helping him. He wants a bouquet for a girl he likes, so she takes him around the store, showing him what she thinks are the best flowers. She wraps it up for him, and as he pays, he writes his number on the paper and hands it to her. I was floored. It was so smooth. She was completely unfazed, like, oh, that's how men are where I'm from. Men don't do that here? I was like, nope. Story 20. We walked home together all the time from school, and he would do something cute, funny, caring to make sure I was on the inside of the sidewalk when we were together. Like he would twirl me around and guide me to the interior, or tickle my side and jokingly push me to the inside of the sidewalk. Not a typical flirt move, but considering that 99% of the time I was walking to get anywhere. His wanting to be by my side when we were together was so sweet. We're not together and have never dated, but this is still one of the top things on my list of precious moments. Even in school, he'd walk on the outside because I always got shoulder checked by people passing by. Story 21. It was just genuinely lovely. My boyfriend was too shy to flirt with me at first since we were only friends, so he texted me saying I looked nice that day after seeing me. And it was such a simple thing, but it made my day better. And that can let the person know you're interested in them. It doesn't need to be a big scheme.